The governor is responding this noon to the news that the state may take over Union High School in Grand Rapids. And 24 Hour News 8's Tony Tagliavia is live in Lansing this noon, where he just spoke with the governor. Tony?
Good afternoon, Emily. We asked the governor about the issue to try and get some sense of whether there could be an extension. Here's what basically happened. Grand Rapids Public Schools Union High School is the only GRPS school on a state list, the most recent state list of lowest performing schools in the state. And so it had a deadline yesterday to submit a plan to the state to fix that school. The administration did, but administrators and teachers couldn't come to an agreement on something that has to be a part of that plan, and that is changes to the teacher's contract. Here's our conversation with the governor from just a little bit ago this morning.
The law is clear that there has to be a plan submitted, that if there is no plan or if there's no movement forward on the reforms that are necessary, then the schools are not performing, then the state will step in. So it's not an idle threat, it's in the law. They have to submit a plan.
Is there any legal way, though, for an extension to be granted, or do you believe there's not?
Well, these are rules that are set up by the State Board of Education, so that's really a question for them.
So we went to the Department of Education. Technically, the responsibility is in the hands of the new state school reform officer. A spokesman in the department tells us there is an appeal process. If, in fact, GRPS's plan is not approved, an appeal would be one way to stop the takeover. We'll talk more about that later today on 24 Hour News 8, beginning at 5 o'clock. We should also mention there is a somewhat connected, somewhat separate issue of money. GRPS is eligible for more than $20 million in federal school turnaround grants. Some of these schools statewide are on the same list as the ones that could face a state takeover. For GRPS, Union's the only one on the takeover list. There are a handful of other schools that are eligible for these grants. So that grant money could be on the line if teachers and administrators can't come to an agreement, but a spokesman at the Department of Education tells us there is no set deadline for when those two sides have to agree for GRPS to get those dollars. We'll be tracking that part of the story as well. Live in Lansing, Tony Tagliavia, 24 Hour News 8.